Welcome to Auto Mundial, the weekly car news and review show. This week we're taking a look at Skoda's new electric concept car, the Vision 7S.
We also have a luxury off-roader from Lexus and Renault's latest SUV, the Austral.
Plus the exciting Ford Maverick Tremor and the all-new Vauxhall Astra squares up against its old rivals. That's all coming up. First though, the news.
Electric pickup manufacturer Rivian and Mercedes-Benz have announced a joint plan to build electric commercial vehicles in Europe. The plan will see Mercedes and Rivian building electric vans in Eastern Europe as part of a joint venture that saw Rivian share prices soar. According to Mercedes-Benz Vans chief Matthias Geisen, the venture is to be a 50-50 deal. He added that Mercedes have a lot of expertise when it comes to vans, but Rivian brings in a lot of new technology. Mercedes is already cooperating with the Renault-Nissan-Mitsubishi alliance on small electric vans, though this will not be affected by the Rivian deal.
Rivian is at the forefront of electric vehicle startups. Ford and Chevy are now building their own EV pickup trucks, but the 800 horsepower Rivian R1T is the one that's really got people talking. News of the brand's rollercoaster riding the stock market may have been making the headlines, but it's the product itself that we're most interested in. It's called the R1T, and it's unlike any truck we've seen before. From the unique front lighting setup to the beautiful minimalist interior, the Rivian looks fantastic, especially for a commercial vehicle. Unlike the Chevy and the Ford, the Rivian was designed from the ground up as an electric vehicle rather than an ICE truck with some batteries under the bonnet. As a result, the Rivian is engineered differently. Its skateboard chassis may be nothing new, but the way it's incorporated into the unitised body is unique in this class. It's allowed for more clever storage functionality while still retaining its classic truck proportions and silhouette. What's most impressive though is the R1T's powertrain. With a motor for each wheel, Rivian claims a 0 to 60 time of 3 seconds and a towing capacity of up to 5 tons. Range meanwhile is said to be up to 314 miles if you spec it effectively. Deliveries are now underway and the brand is already busy creating its own charging network across North America. There's an SUV on the way as well, but don't expect to see either of them in Europe anytime soon.
Since the original Astra launched way back in the 1980s, it's never really been much of a style icon. Cars like the Golf and the Focus have always seemed a bit more desirable, but this new 8th generation car might just change that. Showcasing the brand's visor grille that we've seen on the new Mocha, the new Astra looks incredibly distinctive and, dare we say, more stylish than the latest Volkswagen Golf. The rest of the car looks great too, with a contrasting roof and slim new tail lights with on-trend Astra script across the boot lid. It's a world away from the old car, but it will need to do more than just look good to remain competitive against two of the best-selling cars in Europe. To ensure its future-proof popularity, an EV version will go on sale next year. But for now, buyers have plenty of powertrain options to choose from. Base models come with a 1.2-litre 3-cylinder petrol motor that can be had with either 108 or 128 brake horsepower. Both are predictably lethargic but economical, capable of up to 52 miles per gallon. Next up is the diesel, again producing 128 bhp and this time achieving upwards of 64 miles per gallon. The pick of the bunch though is the plug-in hybrid. It pairs an electric motor with a 1.6 4-pot petrol motor producing a combined 178 bhp. 0 to 62 miles per hour is dealt with in 7.7 seconds and there's a top speed of 144. It gets an electric-only range of 35 miles, giving an official WLTP figure of up to 257 miles per gallon, depending on spec. On paper then, the Astra looks like it might be in with a shout of topping the family hatchback tables. But to do that, it needs to take on this, the new Ford Focus.
We say new, but really it's just had a bit of a facelift. The front end has been totally redesigned with a new look in line with that of the new Fiesta. Like a lot of new cars that we've seen in the last couple of years, it gets a big new grille housing the blue oval badge. The nose of the car is higher while the new LED headlights are slimmer and more aggressive. Changes at the rear are much less obvious with the optional LED rear lights gaining a darker tint. The key to the Focus success is the way it drives. Even the most basic models with their simple torsion beam rear suspension handle sweetly, while the wide range of engine options is more than a match for the Vauxhall. And then of course there's this, the king of hatchbacks, the Volkswagen Golf. Like the Astra, the Golf is now in its 8th generation. As ever with VW's perennial bestseller, there's a wide range of engines to choose from, ranging from a tiny 89 brake horsepower 1 litre to the 320 horsepower Golf R Hyperhatch. However, an annoying infotainment system and lack of physical buttons are a pain day to day, and the build quality gulf between Volkswagen and its rivals just isn't there anymore.
It seems then that this is the Astra's time to shine. With its diverse selection of powertrains and its striking good looks, 2023 might finally be the year that Ford and VW really do have to worry.
While many US customers were sad to learn that the new Toyota Land Cruiser won't be headed to North America, they can take solace in knowing that there is something to fill its place in the massive Japanese unstoppable 4x4 market. This is the new Lexus LX 600, essentially a luxury Land Cruiser. Based on the new Toyota Land Cruiser, the 2022 LX has ditched the big V8 in favour of a somewhat more frugal twin-turbo V6. Don't think it's any less impressive though. This is the LX's first major overhaul in over a decade, with cars like the Range Rover and Mercedes GLS firmly in its sights. As imposing as ever, the new LX comes in various different guises, most notably the relatively demure F-Sport and the modestly named ultra-luxury model. This eye-catching top-of-the-range car gets one of the most distinctive grilles on the market and will no doubt appeal to BMW 4 Series fans. The strange styling continues to the side profile, where the odd proportions make it look like a toy. But with its Land Cruiser underpinnings, it's safe to say that style has come in second place to capability. If it really is to fill the Land Cruiser's shoes, it needs to be the off-road benchmark for SUVs. To ensure its green lane credentials, the LX has some beefed-up height-adjustable suspension, high and low range, and a new system called Multi-Terrain Select. This allows the driver to tailor the car's setup for different terrains or let the car work out what's best. The different modes consist of auto, dirt, sand, mud, deep snow and rock, with each configured to keep the big Lexus going whatever you throw at it. It has the 4x4 abilities of a Range Rover then, but is it as luxurious? Well, step inside and you're greeted by a sea of leather and open pore wood trim. It isn't quite as stylish as some of its rivals, but it sticks to the Lexus traditions of lots of physical buttons and ultra-high quality materials. In the back there are some big screens, sunblinds and a control that lets rear seat passengers move the front passenger seat for more legroom. The infotainment is slightly underwhelming, but the cabin just about lives up to the ultra-luxury name. The Range Rover is still the obvious choice, but the Lexus LX is not far behind, and certainly a bold statement and fun alternative for American buyers mourning the loss of the Land Cruiser.
After the break, Ford's new off-road ready Maverick and a concept car from Skoda. Coming up, a new EV 7-seater from Skoda, but first...
We're big fans of the Ford Maverick, Ford's smallest truck with a bargain basement price tag and just enough creature comforts to make it viable as an everyday car. It's affordable utilitarian transport for the masses, but that hasn't stopped Ford from jazzing it up a bit. This is the new Maverick Tremor, essentially a Maverick built for getting muddy. With Mavericks selling quicker than Ford can build them, it looks like things might stay that way for a while with the introduction of the Tremor package. Ford describes it as an entry-level option for buyers seeking off-road capability. To that end, the Tremor pack includes a 1-inch suspension lift for greater ground clearance, a new trail control drive mode designed to optimize traction on whatever surface you find yourself on, and a new rear diff borrowed from the Badlands version of the Bronco Sport. On top of that, there's also some beefier underbody protection and a styling pack consisting of some blacked out badges, orange tow hooks and some redesigned vents and grills. Buyers can get more bespoke styling tweaks with the Tremor Appearance Package, which adds some more graphics and a carbon grey roof panel. Otherwise, this is a standard 2-litre 4-wheel drive model, meaning moderate performance but decent capability. Ideal for those who want to go and tow a quad bike through a disused quarry. The Tremor pack costs an extra $3,000, but if you want your Maverick to stand out, this is surely the way to go.
The old Renault Kadjar never quite made it in the cutthroat family SUV market. As a result, Renault is starting from scratch with this, the all-new Austral. Competing against the likes of the Kia Sportage and Nissan Qashqai, the new Austral needs to stand out if it wants to win over buyers in this class. On the styling front, it's far from revolutionary. The front end is reminiscent of the new Megane E-Tech, using Renault's new sensual tech design language, but cover up the badges and it could be just about any other small SUV. At the back, it gets some stylish rear lights that stretch out the middle with a de rigueur Austral script, reminding you that things have moved on since the Kadjar. Step inside though, and it's altogether more exciting. There are lashings of wood trim, Alcantara and Napa leather in the sporty Alpine trim level, giving the whole cabin a tasteful, premium vibe. The Austral uses an updated version of the Kadjar's platform, but this time it gets a whole lineup of electrified powertrains. From launch, there won't be a plug-in option, but regular series hybrids will be available with either 158 or 197 brake horsepower. The engine is a turbocharged 1.23 cylinder hooked up to a small 1.7 kilowatt-hour battery. Renault reckons that up to 80% of city driving can be done on electric-only power, and that depending on spec, the Austral will achieve up to 61 miles per gallon. Accompanying the two full hybrids is a pair of mild hybrids, both using bigger 1.3-litre four-cylinder motors, producing 138 and 158 bhp respectively.
As we know though, there are plenty of small hybrid SUVs to choose from. One such car is this, the Honda CR-V, in particular the hybrid model. The CR-V hybrid matches a 2-litre petrol engine with an electric motor and is available in both 2- and 4-wheel drive. The hybrid system is good, cutting in and out of EV mode seamlessly. While the CR-V has a similar overall size to the previous version, the wheelbase has been increased. So much so that the Honda can now be specified with 5 or 7 seats. While the rearmost row of seats is a bit cramped for anyone but young children, the extra seats do give the CR-V an advantage over cars like the Austral. Like the Renault, its styling doesn't leave much to shout about, but inside it's well equipped and beautifully made. If you're after something a bit more eye-catching though, the new Hyundai Tucson has you covered. A bold departure from the old model, it certainly turns heads, something rare in this segment of the market. And it isn't just the exterior that's been transformed, it's a similar story inside, where you're greeted by a smart contemporary dash with stylish vents and a quirky steering wheel. There's a range of petrol and hybrid powertrains to choose from, with a 261 brake horsepower plug-in hybrid model sitting at the top of the lineup.
It remains to be seen then how the Renault Austral will get on when it's launched in the autumn, but Renault hopes to win back buyers with its upmarket cabin and electrified engines. The trouble is, there are already plenty of other excellent cars fulfilling that role.
The Skoda Enyaq is one of our favourite electric SUVs of the moment. It's practical, well-made and well-priced versus rivals. Now though, Skoda is rethinking its flagship EV. This is the Vision 7S, a new concept car debuting Skoda's new design language and brand identity. Skoda plans on launching 3 new electric cars by 2026, led by a production version of the 7-seat 7S. Bigger than an Enyaq, the 7S is described as a 6+1 with 3 rows of 2 seats, with an extra baby seat mounted somewhere in the middle. That's all well and good, but what we're most intrigued by is the styling. This is a concept car after all. The front end is dominated by the enormous solid plastic bumper, giving the 7S a rugged off-road look. Of course, there are some comically large alloy wheels and some futuristic lights, but the overall shape seems perfectly feasible despite the pillarless suicide doors. The cabin is perhaps less production ready. There's the obligatory massive screen and a weirdly shaped steering wheel that looks fantastically awkward to hold. Many of the materials on display are sustainably sourced and recycled, with the fabric seats made entirely from recycled polyester. A Range Rover it isn't then, but it's no less impressive. There are various magnets mounted around the interior designed to securely hold everything from water bottles to smartphones. Powering the Vision 7S is an 89 kilowatt-hour battery, good for 370 miles of range. It shares its MEB platform with the existing Enyaq as well as various other VW Group EVs, with a longer wheelbase allowing for a bigger battery. While the production version is unlikely to look much like this concept, it does at least show that Skoda is on the right track to an interesting range of electric models.
Join us again next week on Auto Mundial as we bring you the highlights from one of the world's most exclusive classic car events, Salon Prive at Blenheim Palace.